Hello everyone and welcome to Tasmania. Now today, yes, I am angry. I am furious because what I'm about to show you today is a national betrayal on young girls. In Somalia, girls who should be dreaming of their future, girls who should be in school, are being pushed into a very different life. One of forced marriage, no consent, into motherhood, early motherhood, and no childhood for themselves. So in Somalia, instead of stopping these child marriages, the laws are being rewritten in ways that make it so much worse. So in today's video, it's about how a country that once took the first steps towards protecting its children, especially its girls, has now undone those protections. How laws that should protect them have been turned into tools of harm. This is a story about power, religion, patriarchy, and the cost paid by the most vulnerable. If you care about girls, if you care about justice, stay with me. So let's start with what we are up against. Somalia is one of the countries where child marriage is deeply entrenched, socially and legally. According to data, around 36% of Somali women aged 20 to 24 were married before 18. Some estimates put the rate closer to 45. The legal framework, it's weak. The 2012 Provisional Constitution of Somalia says marriage shall not be legal without the free consent of both parties, or if either party has not reached the age of maturity. But critically, it does not define the age of maturity, and that means there are gaps and loopholes. Under the 1975 Family Code, the legal age for marriage is 18 for both men and women, but it allows exceptions for girls aged 16 to 18 with guardian consent. And courts may exempt even these limits in cases of necessity. In practice, puberty, customary practice, and religious interpretations dominate. The age of a girl's first period or readiness is wrongly taken as justification. So already the rules that should protect girls are fuzzy at best, permissive at worst. Customary law, clan systems, insecurity, poverty, all these systems push families to marry daughters early to reduce economic burden, to protect honour, to align with tradition. Just think about it. These young girls, often teenagers, who should be out in school, learning, having fun, are married young to an older man, often pregnant, getting no education and with no say in the matter. That is the real reality. And yet, for a brief moment, there was hope. In 2018, after years of talks, a draft called the Sexual Offences Bill was introduced. It was intended to criminalise sexual violence, forced marriage, child marriage, unwanted sexual acts, and finally align Somalia's laws more with international rights. The bill was endorsed unanimously by the Council of Ministers in Somalia and sent to the Parliament. It included definitions of child marriage and large sentences, 10 to 15 years imprisonment, for arranging marriage for a child. For once, it seemed Somalia might actually choose its young girls, choose education over early marriage, and choose rights over custom. The international organisations were watching. The United Nations Human Rights Office, Human Rights Watch, UN Women, all urging the government to adopt the bill. This felt like progress. And then the betrayal happened. In August 2020, a new draft, the Sexual Intercourse Related Crimes Bill, surfaced. A bill that did not match the promise of the 2018 draft. In fact, it did the opposite. Some key problems. It permitted child marriage once a girl reached puberty or matured reproductive organs, or if a guardian gave consent. That means no fixed minimum age. And that means girls as young as 10, 11, 12 years old could be married off to older men. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights called it a worrying signal to other states in the region. Then, Constitution Review Process. In early 2024, the draft amendments from the Independent Constitutional Review and Implementation Commissions proposed lowering the age of maturity from 18 to 15. More precisely, the proposal said a child would be under 15 for maturity, but the age of responsibility would remain at 18. But this distinction is practically meaningless when the custom and laws lean one way. On the 30th of March 2024, the Somali Parliament approved amendments setting the age of maturity to 15. Let's be very clear here. Lowering the age of maturity to 15 means that girls under 15 can legally be classed as adults in some context, married, judged, deprived of juvenile protection, and that puts them at great risk. Rights groups warned this weakens protections, especially for girls, gives religious or customary law room to mandate marriages at puberty again, and undermines international obligations. Somalia ratified the Convention on the Rights of the Child in 2015, which defines a child as under 18. Meanwhile, parents, guardians, religious leaders are saying if reaching puberty or maturity is enough, then that is our permission. And the result is a legal environment that was worse than before. Legal ambiguity and lowered protections equals more danger for girls. It's infuriating a country that publicly committed to ending child marriage is now doing the opposite because the people didn't like that they could have married children. When the law says maturity at 15 or when the girl reaches puberty, the parents who marry off their daughters now have legal rights, legal cover to marry off their 13-year-old daughter. So childhood is no longer an option for these girls. So what about enforcement? What about the guardians giving consent? The laws might say 18 in theory, but the actionable pieces say puberty and guardian. So in practice, many girls will be lost. Now let's talk about what this means for girls. The health risks. Girls married young face early pregnancies, complications in childbirth, higher mortality, lack of reproductive care. They often stop school, their lives are shortened, their choices shrink. Education. A girl married at 14 or 15 is unlikely to go back to school. She's considered someone's wife now. She stops dreaming of college. She stops hoping for research, for career, for freedom. Abuse risk. Child brides are more vulnerable to domestic violence. Economic dependency. Social isolation. The law should protect them, but when the laws sanction marriage at puberty, that protection is gone. Social cycle. A girl married early is more likely to give birth early, less likely to be literate, more likely to remain poor, and that cycle repeats with their children. This isn't culture or faith. This is just coercion, sold as tradition. And we must call it what it is, a system where girls are treated as assets and not as human beings, where legal frameworks retreat while custom advances. The anger is justified. So why did Somalia regress? Well, there are multiple intertwined forces. So let's go over those. One is custom and religion. In many parts of Somalia, the onset of puberty or the capacity to bear children is taken as the sign of maturity. Some clerics argue girls should marry once they're ready. Second is legal ambiguity, because the constitutional and legal definitions are vague. Age of maturity. When puberty hits, no clear enforcement. It creates space for exploitation. Third is political pressure and a weak governance. Reform bills face huge opposition from conservative religious leaders, from clan elders, from those who fear Western influence. For example, the 2018 bill that proposed the age of 18 was attacked as being incompatible with Sharia. Fourth is economic and security factors. In pastoral, rural, or conflict-affected regions, marrying daughters early is seen as reducing economic risks, protecting family honour, or securing alliances. Fifth is international hypocrisy. Somalia signed treaties committing to minimum age 18, yet the domestic laws don't enforce them. And the result is a nation that says publicly they will protect their children, but legally says we're okay with our children being sold. It's not just a legal failure, it is a moral failure. There are things that must happen in Somalia and things that you and all of us can do too. For Somalia, define clearly the minimum legal age of marriage at 18 with no exceptions. Remove any clause that says at puberty or allows guardian consent to override age. Adopt laws that criminalise those who arrange, facilitate or officiate child marriages. Align domestic laws with international standards. Invest in girls' education, health, pathways out of early marriage. Empower girls to resist, to have voices, to have an education. And for you watching, raise awareness, share this video, talk about it in your networks. Support organisations working on this issue. Girls Not Brides, Plan International, UNICEF Somalia programs, so girls in Somalia have a real chance. Call on your governments and international donors to hold Somalia accountable for its awful behaviour. Use your voice, because the alternative is silence, and silence is complicity. This isn't just about Somalia. It's about what happens when societies decide girls don't matter, when childhood becomes optional, when law retreats. I'm Taz, and I believe every girl deserves a childhood, a choice, and a chance. If you believe that too, subscribe, share this video with people, and speak up and join this fight. Because until the laws say that childhood is sacred, children are not safe. Thank you for watching and for listening to this. It is a tough one, but the more people that know about this, the better. So I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and each other.